Bill, what's the worst part about playing tag with a clown?
Ooh, worst part of it. He always tries to squeeze you in the wrong places to get you.
No, it's when the clown is it.
Oh, my gosh. Just follow the red balloon. Follow the red balloon. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, we're going to talk about clowns today, so I thought that, and today is Friday the 13th as we're recording.
It is Friday the 13th.
So I thought that was a good joke to start with.
I'm going to lock the door now. Yeah.
Well, you already brought a clown in here sitting on the table between us.
A little somber bear that doesn't work quite right. A vintage bear music box that he looks a little forlorn, but he's well dressed.
So well, there are clowns of all kinds, all sorts of ilk.
Yes, there are.
Funny, happy, sad, scary.
Yeah. Many clowns. Many clowns.
Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of a morose dancing bear clown with a drum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. He's
forced
to perform against his will, it looks like, which I
Very
have a
cute.
problem with. I need to contact the Animal Rights Bureau. But no, clowns. Why are we talking
particularly rodeo clowns?
Particularly,
is what we're talking
particularly rodeo clowns.
Mm-hmm.
Which are a special subspecies of the clown genre, correct?
The subspecies.
Yeah. the more agricultural variety, as opposed to the Parisian Moulin Rouge clown.
Oh, yes. Well, see, there are things like jesters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Right.
and clowns and fools.
Fools.
I like the idea of clowns. I like thinking about them, especially because I have an affinity with the fools in literature, like from Shakespeare's plays and in King Lear. His fool, his jester, was like the smartest person in the play.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the clown idea is that, oh, don't take him or her. We usually think of a clown as him, don't we?
Right.
Seriously. But then a lot of times they know much more than anyone else does.
Yeah.
Even the rodeo clown.
What
does a rodeo clown do?
He distracts the animal from killing the cowboy or the bunk rider or something.
He has an incredibly important job.
I would say
Yeah.
it's right up there with the snake charmer as far as danger.
Yeah, physical and intellectual, and it's all that awareness. Like when we were in martial arts class and we do that one thing of eye of the tiger.
Right.
And you turn your head and practice your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Boy, a rodeo clown's got to
And
have
have you
that
ever
too.
thought of the athleticism a rodeo clown has to
Yeah.
have?
Oh,
Because
definitely.
if you have someone that has maybe an artificial limb or is challenged by gravity because of maybe a few pounds, we got a problem. We got a problem here. Or maybe one that can't see. A blind rodeo clown would be a really tragic thing. I'm saying you have to have a certain set of physical abilities.
Yeah, I think you have to be able to see to be a rodeo clown. Okay, no offense to blind people, but you have to be able to see.
If you weren't, that'd be like Roman gladiator days. Ooh, here comes the lion.
Welcome everybody to Wacky Poem Life,
Yeah,
episode 64.
64.
Rodeo Clown.
64. That was a good year. I don't remember it, but it was a good year. I've seen a lot of movies based on 64.
My name and I shall be is Sean.
And I'm Bill. And you shall be for the duration of this podcast.
For as long as I intend to be Sean.
Yeah.
And we are coming to you from the Rural Oklahoma Museum of Poetry. We take a poem that someone has left in the museum and we talk about it for 30 minutes, even though, we don't always do that.
Right.
Sometimes we just take a theme, and I think we're going to do that next time because you had an encounter last night.
I had an encounter.
That I think we need to spend a whole episode on.
Wow, okay.
So we'll
it's
do
funny
that
how
next time.
These events kind of morph into larger discussions.
Yes.
I like that.
Little moments in time can be something that's important to share with the whole world. You all out there, you are the whole world listening to us. There may only be 20 of you, but you are the whole world.
Every time that commercial comes on, tens and tens of listeners. No, maybe more. Who knows? Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Right.
Please keep sharing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about rodeo clowns because if you've been in the museum in the last several months since our exhibit went up called 15 Tip, 15 Themes in Poetry, one of those themes is humor or comedy, and there is a clown at that station for this
A life-size
theme.
clown.
Yes, a very large mannequin. He's at least
With
6
a red
foot
balloon,
tall.
fangs. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, this is one of the friendlier clowns.
Friendly clown.
You know, he's
Yeah,
all
we
in
don't want to
primary.
discourage people
He's
from
all
coming
in
in.
primary colors, and he has a red fluffy nose, and he's got a rainbow wig and a hat. I can't remember what the hat looks like right now.
I think it's a conical hat, possibly.
Yeah. Okay. And he actually has shoes that I brought from the rummage store.
Yeah.
They were just an old pair of brogues.
Yeah.
Is that what you call them? Men's.
Yes, right.
And I painted them red,
Yeah.
yellow, and green.
Oh, cool.
So he's got some cool shoes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's standing there, and the thing there is the comedy couplet. That's what we're asking you to think about. Is so many comic poems are written in couplets because that's really, it's fun and it's easy to rhyme two lines together. There's a Shel Silverstein poem there at the station called Sick, and some of the lines of it are, "I cannot go to school today," said little Peggy Ann McKay. "I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps."
Well, I'd say keep that poor girl home. My goodness, get her to the ER. What kind of gash?
Oh no, at the end of the poem she says, "What's that you say? Today is Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play."
Yeah, where's a bandage? I can stitch myself up.
So we ask people there to consider writing their own couplet on any topic, and it can be funny, doesn't have to be, and some of them are and some of them aren't. And so our poem today is one that was written on a yellow balloon, a yellow paper balloon,
Yes,
and posted there for everyone to see.
and I'll read it now, and we shall
Okay.
discuss it.
All
We shall
right.
discuss it. My father was Rodeo Clown. He made it his mission to turn your frown upside down. That was his mission. I think it's a good mission.
Oh, I love that this person used that word mission.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a neat way to
Purpose.
think about your purpose and your vocation and your hobby or joy or job, career, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to think of that as your mission.
And a smile is just a frown turned upside down.
That's right.
And vice versa. Frown is just a smile.
So the idea is a cliche, really, but it's just kind of a neat little couplet to think about what more could you do with that?
Yeah.
What more could you talk about in terms of, because that's, I think, is a really cool idea that this person had a father
Yeah.
who was a rodeo clown and saw that as their mission.
Right.
I would love to hear more.
Well, absolutely. How many rodeos did this person get to attend and watch? I assume, he escaped many a horn and a hoof, But rodeo clowns are one of the few clowns that I found kind of funny, the way they would tease the animal. And it wasn't cruel because they were just distracting the animal.
Right. Right.
I'm not a big fan of rodeos in general now as an adult, but as a child I attended several. I've seen several rodeo clowns. They usually arrived in a barrel, I believe. A barrel was rolled out and by a couple of other clowns, and they left it there, and all of a sudden it would pop off, and there would be a clown in the barrel. The bull or the animal would be unaware until there was motion. Then the show was on.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you mentioned barrel, and I wanted to say this because I read a little bit about the history of the rodeo clown. I thought this was interesting, the barrel thing, because there was a famous rodeo clown named Ralph Fulkerson. He was originally a bull rider from Midlothian, Texas, and which is just right by Dallas. And he decided, this was back in the 20s, he developed this cornball humor that involved his mule Elko. And he came up with a way to protect himself after a while, and he was the one who introduced the clown barrel to bull riding.
So it's called a clown barrel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And his first barrels, this was an article I found in Texas Highways. It's a really cool magazine. It's called Fight or Flight by W.K. Stratton. And so he said that Fulkerson came up with these barrels. They were made out of wood, reinforced with metal, And then he would draw the bulls away from the bull riders and toward the barrel, and then he'd hop in the barrel and, allow the bull to bang away at it.
Good night.
And then they became standard
Yeah.
at rodeos after that, and they remain so today. Now, they didn't provide complete protection.
Right, I would say, being banged around inside of a wooden barrel or whatever.
Yeah, and well, he was gored several times, even inside the barrel, because the horns could sometimes pierce inside the barrel.
Good grief. Yeah.
They called it the can. The barrel was called the can.
The can.
by the clowns.
The can of death. Yeah. My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some get kind of kicked around, rolled around, and
Yeah.
they're dizzy. They climb out of there. Which way is he at? The audience is gasping and yelling. And I was curious. Speaking of the what they do, the rodeo clowns. Do you think they can get insurance? This is a legitimate question.
If a bull rider can get insurance, they can get insurance.
Well, certainly, you would think so.
Mm-hmm.
You would think so, right? Yeah.
Actually, that's what the rodeo clowns are often called, or bullfighters.
Bullfighters.
Yeah, not like the matador type
Right.
Spanish bullfighter, but that's what they're doing. Is they're fighting.
I see
the
similarities in the way they can avoid the horns and jump out of the way quickly. It's a little less tragic because they're not trying to stab the animal. So more respect for the clown than the matador, in my opinion.
Well, those Spanish matador outfits look like jester outfits to me when you think about it.
They're very flashy and very glittery and ornate.
Yeah.
And the cape is red.
Yeah, they're kind of doing the same thing a clown is doing.
They're doing
aren't
very much so. Yes.
I didn't even look that up. I didn't look up the matador thing.
Right.
Every time I think about matadors, I think of that lovely children's book, Ferdinand.
Oh, I love Ferdinand. Love Ferdinand. Yeah.
Couldn't get him to buck.
Nope.
Buck off.
Till he sat on that bee.
No.
And then, that was when they thought he was
Right.
He
just wanted to sit under the cork tree.
and smell the clover or something like
smell the
this.
flowers.
Right. I could identify with him.
I think
Leave
of
me
that.
alone.
And the other thing I think of matadors is the old, I don't know, was it the 70s where it was a big craze to have matador posters and pictures
And also matador figurines on your coffee
Yes,
table.
yeah.
Flamenco dancers and or the bull and the matador out of ceramic, and the wall plaques.
Yeah.
And oh yes.
Yeah. I've always thought they look kind of like jesters. Though,
Yeah.
Which is a form of clown.
That's true.
There's
Right.
lots of different clowns.
And did you happen to look up the earliest true circus clown?
I did not.
Joseph Grimaldi from England, circa 1805.
1805.
The first true circus type clown,
Wow,
not
I would
rodeo.
have thought it would have been earlier.
I would have
than
thought it would have
that.
been earlier
Yeah.
because I think jesters might have been earlier.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But this was the first true circus clown.
Huh.
The first true circus clown female was Amelia Butler, American, circa 1846.
Wow.
Just, it's a little bit of trivia for your card games.
Yeah, the clown idea goes back, I mentioned Shakespeare and the Fools, but there were medieval clowns. And they had a very important role in the court. Actually, they were the only people who were allowed to make fun of the king because that was their job. It was their entertainment, as a court jester.
Of course, I'm wondering, I bet a few crossed the line and lived to regret it,
You think some jesters' hats
Yeah.
wound up on the chopping block?
Probably so,
Some heads.
a little too close to home. I don't think Henry VIII was that fond of being made fun of.
Oh, probably not.
You know,
Did he chopped off
he
more
liked a
heads
lot
than
of
just the wives, didn't he?
Horrible situation.
Or maybe one of those wives should have put on a clown outfit. Maybe she would have had more of a chance,
Yeah.
especially if she had a barrel.
Roll out. Is that
out the barrel?
I'm just getting to that. Is that where the roll out the barrel comes from?
We'll have
a barrel
of fun.
Yeah, more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
I was going to, if I could remember any more of the lyrics, I might be able to answer that question. But that's all I can remember.
Well, I found this interesting. Coulrophobia is one of the number one phobias in the nation.
Oh, that's a phobia of clowns?
Yes.
How do you spell that?
Coulrophobia. Coulrophobia. Coulro. It sounds like coal, but it's pronounced cool. Coulrophobia.
So is that beginning of? Does that mean clown? I wonder if that
It
beginning of that
seems
word?
like the C might be affiliated with clown.
Because my lover, the online etymology dictionary,
Right.
tells us that the word clown comes from the 1560s, meaning man of rustic or coarse manners, boor, peasant.
How dare you clown.
The word has obscure origin. We're not quite sure about it. There's a Swedish word called kluns, which is a hard knob, a clumsy fellow. There's a Danish word klunt, meaning log or block. I think of Charlie Brown, blockhead.
Yeah. Yes, blockhead.
Yeah, he was kind of like a clown, wasn't he?
Right, he was.
Low German word klone, meaning clumsy person. Dutch clone, clod, or clot.
Yeah. I've heard of clod. Not clot. You clot?
I mean, that's a primary characteristic of a clown, isn't it? To seem like a clumsy person, to be falling around, rolling around, diving, jumping up and down.
Yeah, intoxicated
whatever.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow folding up himself into a tiny person to get inside a tiny car.
Yeah.
With 10 other clowns, and then falling out.
Yes. And then you have your whole other subcategory of a mime, which I don't know if it's a clown, but it has clown-like qualities.
Yes, I would put that in that
And
category.
I enjoy clowns who unsuspectingly target audience members and walk behind them and make, I find that humorous more so than the squeaky horn of a clown. It's an art form.
There was a rodeo on the very road that we are on right now, Bill.
Oh.
When I was a child growing up in this little town here, Locust Grove, the rodeo was at the other end of Delaware Street. We're at the corner of Delaware and Main, and if you just keep going south to where Delaware ends, and you can look down, there's kind of a valley down there. That's where the rodeo grounds were at.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not very far from our house. We could walk down there, and I remember walking down there to go to certain rodeos. I remember the clowns. I don't remember any of their names. One of them in particular, he always had a yellow wig on, and he wore gigantic overalls. They were like 10 sizes too big for him, and some kind of checkered or flannel shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The knee-high white athletic
big shoes,
socks.
Huge shoes. Right.
Yeah, I don't remember the shoes, but that part of it I remembered, and that was a great location for a rodeo down there. I drive by there now, and you would never know. There's absolutely no remains. There's a few houses down there, and it just doesn't look like. It's like a lot of things from your childhood. It doesn't look like there's room.
Well, right.
For what all went
Things
on.
seem so much bigger as a child.
Yeah.
So,
but there was a rodeo there and stands and places for people to park, and I go look at it now, and I think,
how did it ever fit
do
there?
That? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perspective. Right.
Weird.
Right. Did you know that also on the other side of coulrophobia is coulrophiliac?
Oh, lovers of clowns.
Yes, people that find clowns sexy, which I thought, who would have thought? That's even creepier than the It clown.
That
I think,
is, because there's nothing sexy about a clown
Not
that
so
I
much.
can see.
Not so much. Yeah, and there was even a rock group that sort of took up on the clown
Insane
theme.
clown.
There was a famous rock group that took that took the clown. I was on my research, took the clown theme into a new stratosphere, and with huge success with painted faces. Yes, who would that be?
Smooch?
In 1970, let's say 75. It was the name of
Pucker Up?
That's the name of a rock group.
You keep hitting the table, Bill.
Oh, sorry. I'm gesturing. I'm emphatic. Kiss.
Yes.
The rock group Kiss was so.
That's true. They were kind of clown-like. Evil clown-like.
Kind of evil.
Stephen King, sort of evil clown-like.
Yeah, Peter Criss was the cat. He was the least scary of them, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But, and he was the least imposing of them all anyway. He was kind of a little man, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But just, I think the kids love that image of these.
I hear you
right.
calling.
That's my favorite Kiss song, by the way. So, coulrophiliac. Interesting.
Yeah. I am not attracted to clowns in any way,
not so
shape,
much.
or form.
Yeah.
And neither are cannibals. Do you know why cannibals won't eat clowns?
Cannibals. I like that. That was a smooth segue. They're too full of waxy noses.
Well, they taste funny.
They taste
That's
funny.
Just all
They
it
taste
is.
funny. Oh my goodness. Funny bones taste funny.
You know what a rodeo clown's favorite type of bar is?
Let's see. I would say
You
a squeeze
mentioned
bar.
a horn a while ago.
Squeeze ball. Squeeze ball. It has to be a saloon. Saloon. What is saloon?
Honky tonk.
Honky tonk.
I thought you'd actually get that one, Bill.
Honk, honk, honk. Remember that song in the 70s, Bandy, the Rodeo Clown by Mo Bandy? I'm Bandy, the Rodeo Clown, sorry. Bandy, the Rodeo Clown. It's one of those silly 70s country songs.
I know who Mo Bandy is, but I don't remember that song.
It'd be so nice if that were not copyrighted, which I'm sure it is, because that'd be such a great intro for this, you know. But there are a lot of some of the most catchy songs ever were about clowns.
Such as Send in the Clowns.
That's my favorite, but that's a beautiful song.
There ought to be.
Yeah, and you know what I love about that song is because the clown is in the mirror. It's us. Mm-hmm. We're the clowns. Don't bother. They're here. We're here.
Don't bother.
They're here. Okay, Tears of a Clown. Dun,
The
dun,
tears
dun,
of a
dun,
clown.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Smokey.
That's all I know.
If there's a sign on my face, it's only there to fool the public. But yeah, I love that one. And Kathy's Clown, Everly Brothers.
Uh-huh.
Here she comes. Here he comes as Kathy's Clown. Then they have Bandy, and then there's lots more. But these are the ones I remember.
I didn't even think about clown songs.
Clown
I did
songs.
find a clown poem that I kind of like. It's by Ken Ellis, and it's just called The Rodeo Clown. I'm the unsung hero standing out here on the floor. My job, it is important and quite a dangerous chore. My adrenaline starts kicking when I hear the crowd roar. I'm the rodeo clown, and I perform a sideshow on the floor. 8 seconds are a lifetime when you're riding on a bull. No matter which bull you draw, it's an unpredictable duel. As I watch behind this barrel, I wonder who's the bigger fool. I'm the rodeo clown, and I protect the rider from the bull.
Yeah. Hugely important job.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I haven't been to a rodeo in 10,000 ages. And
yeah.
I know they're out of favor, and I'm sure there's some of them that are not very good in terms of how they treat animals. But
I think
I don't really know what the status of
I don't
that
either.
is
It's
nowadays.
they sort of fall in the same category as circuses these days. You know, I think that they are looking at the situation overall. Mm-hmm. I see both sides of it.
Yeah,
you know.
There's probably a lot bigger, more rules,
Certainly.
about how they conduct themselves than they used to in the past.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can still, you can still find a bull that you don't have to do anything to, and he doesn't like you, and he's going to buck you off. I mean, you don't have to like poke it or do anything like that. You can legitimately find a bull that doesn't want you on him.
I just.
But I'm sure there are other ways. The animals are mistreated and whatnot. But not by the clown.
I will probably cause some controversy because I find someone that rides an elephant and sort of has to poke and prod the elephant to move it much more offensive than a cowboy on a big Brahman bull.
Yeah,
I don't find that makes me particularly angry.
Right, especially if they didn't have to, if they didn't do anything.
Yeah, if they open the gate, he's just mad because you're on his back.
Yeah,
I think
and doesn't want to be caged and whatnot. Okay, so set him free.
I have much more sympathy for the cowboy in the back than I do the bull.
Yeah,
because man, how do they ever survive those falls?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We do have a champion bull rider that lives here in Locust Grove. His name's David Berry. And he runs his own kind of a bull riding school now, just south of town. It's called Monster Bull.
I bet he has.
Look him up. He does coach practice and stuff. MonsterBull.com.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I bet he has some.
He's got some stories.
I bet he requires some of the cream on his knees and joints. He
has a podcast too. I can't remember the name of it right now, but if you just go over to his website, you can find it. MonsterBull.
Well, that's cool.
.com.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you know what the rodeo clown told the folks on his second excursion?
His second excursion. I'm double trouble.
Close. He said, "This ain't my first rodeo."
Hey, I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about that idiom, and I was like, where did that come from?
This ain't my first rodeo.
You will never guess where that was first used.
Oh, was it Will Rogers?
No, it wasn't even anybody that had to do with rodeos and clowns.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll say Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Well, you're close. You are actually close.
That is so weird.
Because I mean, it was a colloquialism. It was around. Nobody knows for how long, but the first use of it, like in popular culture, that people really became aware of it, was in the 1981 movie "Mommy Dearest."
Mommy Dearest, Joan Crawford. Oh my gosh.
She said, she didn't say it just like that. She said, "This ain't my first time at the rodeo."
Is this at the Pepsi board meeting? Where she told the board members, "Don't F with her, boys." I'm like, oh, I'd be like crying on the floor if I were attending that.
I was trying to think if I could do a Joan Crawford voice. I don't think I can.
This
ain't my first time at the rodeo.
Ooh, oh,
no, that's not Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford, I would hire every wire hanger I had, and the pruning shears.
I read something about that. It wasn't a phrase that was in the actual book, but that it was in the movie. So whoever the screenwriter was, he put it in there. But I thought, well, that's an interesting little piece of trivia.
And, so it's been around only since the early 80s. This ain't my first rodeo?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is that I'm sure people said it much earlier than that.
Okay.
But
it became on the big screen.
Right.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. If I asked you to do something, you say, "Yeah, I can do that. This ain't my first rodeo." You've done it before.
Yeah.
You've done this before.
Right.
I like that.
Oh, and speaking of rodeo, because, I told you what my lover said about clown, rodeo is from a Latin word rotar, meaning go around.
Around.
So,
rotar.
Rotary, like a Rotary Club, also has the same root that rodeo does, because that's what the Rotary Clubs would entertain in rotation. Around different places.
I see.
So,
I see.
Yeah.
News to me. To me.
Go around.
Yeah, that was my first rodeo hearing that. Yeah.
Well, that's what the Rodeo Clown does too. I mean, there's a roundup, and there's a round ring, and there's all kinds of circles. There's all kinds of symbolism of circles at a rodeo.
Circles.
Yeah.
But
the clown's going around too.
From the rope to the way the horse rides in a figure eight, barrel racing to, I see.
The barrel itself.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Did you know that Australia and New Zealand have rodeo clowns? But I couldn't find any research on the UK. I don't know whether they have rodeo clowns in the.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a joke.
No, with me you don't know. That was not a curveball. That was a strike. Struck her out. Australia and New Zealand have similar rodeo clowns, but French probably have the jesters, and the UK has the jesters, obviously.
Yes. Jesters, and like you mentioned, I think you mentioned mimes.
Yeah,
mimes. I think those are kind of like clowns. There's what was other things I was looking up? There's I already said the medieval clowns. There's clowns that go around with the fair, and amusement parks, and
the Shriners even are very big in clowning, that charitable group.
Yeah. I found another article that was kind of interesting about clowns. It's called Clowns Everywhere, the Meaning of Clowns, Jesters, and Harlequins. That was the other word I was trying to think of. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us, especially if we read Edgar Allan Poe, which most of us did whenever we were young, we think of the image of the Harlequin and maybe the Jester in some of his stories, like The Mask of the Red Death. Mm-hmm. And what was that other one? The Cask of Amontillado, where that guy's dressed up as a clown and he takes the other guy down in the basement and he bricks him into the wall.
Yes.
Remember that story?
Yes.
Anyway.
And
I forgot where I was going.
What are some of the old masks that have
got distracted.
The plaster masks with the huge noses? Back in the medieval times, they hit their plaster masks and that huge beak-like noses. Those are sort of clown-like.
That's from the Mask of the Red Death. So that was representative of the plague.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and that's what they were trying to escape in that story.
Yeah.
It got them anyway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I bet you if we did our research, I bet the South American, Argentinian gauchos, the South American cowboys, I bet you they have something similar to
Something
a clown
yes,
for their
approximating
events.
it.
Yeah, right.
The the deeper, they're funny, they make us laugh, they're entertaining. Rodeo clowns are also very necessary. They're saving the bull rider. They're also entertaining the audience too. There are symbolic of some deeper things though. That article I mentioned, it's on attireclub.org, so it's talking about clothes, but then it goes into how, quote, the clown is a symbol for the upside down world, a symbol for the world turned over, and in some context, an usher of the end.
Ooh.
That when I read that, it made me think of those Poe stories.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too; they do turn things upside down. They upset the normal order of things. I think that's probably why Stephen King's book that it was so popular is because he can write great horror stories, but isn't that an awesome symbol for things being just chaotic?
Well, it was a brilliant plot.
Yeah.
To turn something of laughter and joy into absolute terror. I think that was brilliant.
Right.
Yeah. And the fact that he was standing in a grate by the street, because grates as a child scared me.
They're scary anyway.
Because I used to think, what flows down there, and just to think of someone standing there trying to grab me, ultimate terror,
This article says, quote, they do all the things that are out of the norm. They are the misfits that define the rule. We can see it in the form of their actions. They pretend to do things, they act strangely, and most importantly, they don't fit.
Yeah, yeah. Which is kind of why I think the Joker and the Batman was ultimately the
Riddler. Yeah.
The Riddler.
No, the Joker.
Oh,
too.
the Joker and the Riddler.
I was adding.
And the Riddler, and even who was the Penguin? He was the Penguin, I guess. Sort of had clown-like qualities.
Yes.
Yes. The alternate, the others.
But there was a dark side to them, and that's why I say this symbolism of they're on the edge. They're ushering you to the end.
Right.
Yeah.
With a smile on their face. Even more terrifying.
It's good reason for people not liking clowns.
Yeah, I have a niece who is.
But rodeo clowns are good.
Rodeo clowns. I have laughed at many rodeo clowns because of their agility, and it's thrilling actually because they're basically defying death.
Yes, and the pictures in that one article, y'all should go in there. It's on, like I said, it's on Texas highways online called Fight or Flight, and there's some great photos of rodeo clowns diving and avoiding danger and getting the riders to safety.
And have you thought about how this poem ties into the latest exhibit in a way? Because outlaws and clowns, rodeos, cowboys, it sort of ties together. So
that's what I'm saying. They're on the edge. They're
on
outside.
The edge.
They're
right.
outside the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that in.
Right.
Yeah, we have an exhibit here now called Wanted Dead or Alive, Oklahoma Outlaws and Lawmen. And if y'all live nearby or if you don't, fly in and come and see it. It'll be here till the end of February.
It's a really cool exhibit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill, what do you call a bull that fell asleep at the rodeo?
I think he probably is. I think he's no longer a bull. I think he probably got.
He's a bulldozer.
I thought he might have got neutered.
Let's go back to clowns. What do you
squinched?
What do you get when you boil a clown?
This is getting Stephen Kingish. I think you get funny glue, funny bones, funny stew.
You're getting close. Laughing stock.
I would have got that.
You would. You were getting very close to that one. One more chance.
Okay.
What material are clown costumes made out of?
I think it's.
I'll give you a hint. Polyester. Polyester.
Polyester. I was laughing at polyester. Laugh at my own jokes if no one else will.
Me too. I'm always going to laugh at my own jokes.
Polyester.
Well, it's fun to make jokes. It's fun to make little poetic things with couplets. Again, that's why I put this as a couplet exercise.
Yeah.
Is It's kind of like a haiku, a couplet is, in terms of there's a brevity there. You can say a lot in just a few words. Every word counts. And if it's not particularly, some great poem when you come up with it, like this one is not, a great poem, it still gives you something to start with, to go on.
And the best couplets that make you chuckle are clever. It's the cleverness. It's the cleverness of them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And it's a form that a lot of poets just use. And the most famous one is Joyce Kilmer's poem, The Trees. The whole thing is written in couplets. I think I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. And then, of course, going back to Shakespeare again, the Shakespearean sonnet is in quatrains and a couplet. So every sonnet ends in a couplet, and that couplet serves to explain the entire poem, or summarize the theme.
Right.
So they're an important kind of poetic form.
Mm-hmm. Deceptively simple in their complexity.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. All right. So I think we have deceived the audience enough today.
Have we clowned around enough?
We've clowned around enough. If I had my other soundboard plugged in, we can do some laughter right there. All right. I'll do one more joke.
Okay.
All right. What does a cowboy eat before a rodeo?
Clown.
This one doesn't really have anything to do with clowns.
Oh, a cowboy clown beans. I don't know.
Bologna.
Of course he does.
Of course.
Of course.
All right, and we're full of bologna today.
Full of bologna on this Friday the 13th.
Full of bologna and the Left Hook, which is the wine you brought for us today from Bulgaria. I've never had a wine from Bulgaria.
In honor of Master Paul, I thought we'd drink some Right Hook. Yeah.
All right, folks, I know I say it every time, but please share the word. Thank you.
Listen and share.
We are stuck on Apple Podcast in the review area. We haven't gotten a review in I don't know how long. If you have not reviewed us, please go over to Apple Podcast. If you put a review in there, it really does up us. It does. It boosts us in the algorithm, and we really need that. So if you have not, please leave us a review, and we would appreciate it.
Yeah, spread our brilliance.
Spread our brilliance.
Our
clownish brilliance. And we will be talking to you next time about a fallen woman.
Fallen woman. That's true. Yeah. Think on that. Think on that. Ponder it.
See y'all.
Bye, guys.